She looking okay? Okay. So, my kids are always saying to me, Mommy, why are you always so darn happy and positive all the time? Don't you see all the madness going on everywhere? Doesn't that affect you? And my response is this: I've discovered the magic of life. The universe is always speaking to me. I'm constantly being given inspired thoughts and clues that are leading me to the grand design of my life. Now, I have no idea what the grand design is, but what I do know is that there is a grand designer working behind the scenes, planning and orchestrating this whole thing. It's like one giant magical mystery unfolding on my behalf. And that excites the mess out of me. But here's the thing. It's not just on my behalf. It's on the behalf of everyone in this audience and everyone on the planet. It's just a matter of us activating our awareness of this truth and then paying attention to the clues that are all around us. Like people we encounter, overheard conversations that seem to capture our attention, animals in nature that seem to show up in a profound way, dreams, numbers, even physical sensations. These are all messages from the universe speaking to us, guiding us, sending us comfort and assurance, letting us know that we're on the right path. I call these divine appointments. Now let me tell you a little story. There was a young woman. She was 20 years old at the time. She was living in a small town in Indiana, and it was the spring of 1968. The Vietnam War was in full effect. People were protesting all over the place, fighting against the war, fighting for equality, fighting for sexual freedom, women's rights. And Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. had just been assassinated. It was truly a time of social upheaval and rebellion. And this young woman found herself caught up in the energy of the times and became pregnant. A white, unwed mother, pregnant by a black man in Indiana in the late 1960s. Now this was a divine appointment. She was on her own at the time and didn't have much support from her family. And she was ultimately led to a home for unwed mothers where she lived during her pregnancy, and where she also made the ultimate decision to give her little caramel-skinned baby up for adoption. This too was a divine appointment. And this was the intention that she set forth for her little baby, starting at birth. My mouth is so dry. Okay. Someday, there will be so many like you everywhere that no one will call you names. This is a process of nature and cannot be stopped. I cannot tell you how you happen to be born one of these link people. But remember, you are important, and you have been born for a purpose, nature's eternal purpose, to diversify and then to unify, and so make of life a continuing stream. And that woman was my mother. And the day that I turned 18, the agency that handled my adoption gave me this letter written by my birth mom. And from that moment forward, I really did know that my life was being divinely guided. Now, when I was about 3 or 4 years old, my mom, who raised me, had made this dress for me to wear as a flower girl in a wedding. And God, I love that dress. It sparked some kind of magic in me or something. And from that moment forward, I wanted to be able to inspire that same sense of magic in women and girls for years to come. And fast forward 30 years, I had already finished college where I studied fashion design. And I was now running my own custom bridal wear business. In fact, I was the go-to if you happened to be a modern bride who dared to be different. And I was married to my high school sweetheart. We had 3 beautiful daughters. I thought the prize had been won. And then it came, the shakeup. Now, what I'm calling the shakeup is that time in our lives when we're in the midst of a transformation, but we don't really realize it. You know, things start shifting and changing, and our world gets turned upside down. That's the shakeup. And 8 years ago, I had a really huge shakeup, and my whole world got turned upside down. My marriage was over. I had to give up my business. I had no income, so I lost my home. And then my mom passed away unexpectedly. And while all of that was a lot, I still had a sense of knowing that something important was about to go down. And somehow I was being positioned to go higher. And while in the midst of all of that, I had this dream. And in the dream, I was in the back of a church, laying in the pews, crying hysterically. And then all of a sudden, I look up to the altar, and this hot beam of light shined down on my face. And then when it had this really deep, profound voice, God said, "Take bold steps." I was like, wow. But then the next day when I woke up, I was like shook. This had like affected me deeply. And I was like, okay, take bold steps. So I came up with a plan. And me and my girls, we packed up everything we could possibly fit into my little red Jeep, and we hit the road and moved to Atlanta. So we get there, we get all settled in, and I'm like, okay, God, I took a bold step. Now what? And guess what he tells me? He says, get a job at David's Bridal. I'm like, David's Bridal? God, I'm a designer. And you want me to go work for David's Bridal? Okay, but because I'm aware that divine appointments, you know, we don't always know what's going on, but we have to be obedient and keep it moving. So I get the job at David's Bridal, 3 months in, I get laid off. So while I'm in the midst of my unemployment, I realized that I had put on my calendar to call this one particular bridal shop on this one specific day. And it was a place called not David's Bridal, Bridals by Lori. They do the show Say Yes to the Dress. Anybody ever seen Say Yes to the Dress? So anyway, I pick up the phone, I give them a call, and I say, "Hi, do you all happen to be in need of any additional help in your fitting department?" And the girl on the other end, without hesitation, says, "Well, yes, in fact, we do." So I go in, they offer me the job, and then the girl proceeds to tell me that if I'd have called on any other day, the answer would have been a no, because no one ever leaves that position. And someone had just given notice that they were relocating to another state. How about that for a divine appointment? But here's the other piece. When I was working at David's Bridal, they taught me how to do this, some type of unique hemming stitch that I never knew how to do. And in my current work at Bridals by Lori, it is the #1 hem stitch that I have to do every day. I guess it was my setup for my come up. But I've been there for many years now, and it's been a really wonderful experience. I get to be on the show from time to time. I get to work on really beautiful dresses. I've met some really amazing families. And the opportunity has also helped me to increase the quality of life for me and my girls dramatically, such that I've been able to explore all the things that I've ever wanted to do in life, one of which was to search for my birth mom. And 2 years ago, I found her. And just this last July, I got to meet the entire family. And it was indeed yet another layer added to the beauty of my grand design. And just like this dress that I've created over here, piece by piece and layer by layer and stitch by stitch, the grand design is gradually being revealed. And just like us in life, sometimes we have to be cut and trimmed, shaped and molded. And yeah, it hurts sometimes. But that's okay. It's necessary in order for us to be able to fit into our next level, highest selves. Yes. Now, I share all these stories with you all because I know firsthand just how scary and uncertain it can be following your dreams. But what I also know, in the words of Will Smith, that all of the best things in life are on the other side of fear. And we were not born to just be observers of life. We are creators. And the world needs each and every one of our creative contributions. So ladies, please step into your greatness. Live your life by design. Find the courage, clues, and faith to follow your own divine path. And remember, take bold steps.